was admit that a lot of people don't even realize they.
I've called her. She hasn't responded. I've called her more than a few times.
With the Zulu Nation, I'm like, what the hell is this? I know nobody know what I'm talking about. You'll leave me on the island by myself. I don't know what the hell Bishop's talking about. That's what y'all do. Then after class, yeah, I knew what you were talking about. I just don't want to be caught out there. The hell is this? Get on my damn nerves. So read that again. Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless. I'm Captain Shemaiah. With me I have
Officer Solomon.
And welcome to another episode of 15 Minutes with the Captains. Today's topic will be biblical betrayers. Betrayers. So we're going to touch on it real quick. Again, compacting a lot of information biblically into 15 minutes. So just bear with us. Lord's will we get through it all within the time frame. If not, have mercy. Let's open up with Acts chapter 19 and verse 24.
Acts chapter 19 and verse 24. For a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith,
Now, a silversmith, keep that in mind. Go ahead.
which made silver shrines,
A silversmith made silver shrines. Go ahead.
for Diana, brought no small gain unto the craftsmen.
So now they made a lot of money. It says no small gain, meaning they made a lot of money off these shrines, right? Go ahead.
Whom he called together with the workmen of like occupation, and said, Sirs, ye know that by this craft we have our wealth.
Now, it tells you that no small gain means wealth. They became very wealthy off making these shrines, right? Now, let's jump down a little bit. Let's jump down to verse 32.
Verse 32.
So remember, this is a large gathering, all those of like occupation, right? Silversmiths, so on and so forth. Read.
Some therefore cried one thing, and some another, for the assembly was confused, and the more part knew not wherefore they were come together.
So some of them didn't even know why they were there, but they were all gathered together, all a bunch of confusion, right? But they were all of like occupation. Go ahead.
And they drew Alexander out of the multitude, the Jews putting him forward. And Alexander beckoned with the hand, and would have made his defense unto the people. But when they knew that he was a Jew, all with one voice, about the space of 2 hours, cried out, Great is Diana of the Ephesians.
So now, here's Alexander, a apostle. He's an apostle doing the work, was left in Ephesus. Ephesus? Yes, they were in Ephesus, left there to do the work, right? And here it is, this large gathering of those of the occupation of making idolatrous shrines. they put Alexander in the forefront of this large gathering. When he began to make his case, everyone with one consent began to yell, "Great, great is Diana of the Ephesians," for 2 straight hours. That's loud. You can't get your thoughts together. It's craziness, right? It's madness. So let's move on. Let's go to 2 Timothy 4 and verse 14. What are we doing? We're showing you some things, or the mindset of some betrayers, right? 2 Timothy 4:14.
2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 14. Alexander the coppersmith did me much evil. The Lord reward him according to his works.
Hold on. Putting 2 and 2 together. In Acts 19, we read about silversmiths and those of the like occupation gathered together, had a large tumult, began to antagonize Alexander the apostle by yelling, "Great is goddess Diana of the Ephesians." And it always struck me, why did they put him forward? Because Paul now just told us what life Alexander came from. He was a coppersmith, meaning he once made those idols, most likely to Diana. And these men of like occupation knew exactly who he was. So here's this brother, got the gospel, and began to teach the gospel. But those old people love to pull you back into that old man. They'll do it through enticing you, meaning giving you gifts, money. They'll now also do it through, obviously, fear. You have that large gathering and everybody's against you for 2 hours yelling goddess Diana of whatever garbage of the Ephesians. It gets your mind going. It might get your mind going if it's not strong enough. So what are we reading? This brother began to do Paul much evil. He tried to kick against the pricks. He tried to go against the Messiah, go against the apostles, though being with them at one point. Read it one more time.
2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 14. Alexander the coppersmith did me much evil. The Lord reward him according to his works. Of whom be thou aware also, for he hath greatly withstood our works.
Wait a minute. Words. It says he greatly withstood our words. But wait a minute. He was with them in Acts. He cast the gospel behind him and went back to making shrines. Ain't that something? 1 Timothy 1 and 20. I tell you. So how did he so easily betray Christ? They started reminding him how much money he made off of those shrines. That money is a driving factor for a lot of brothers and a lot of sisters. Hatred is a driving factor for a lot of brothers, a lot of sisters to be biblical betrayers. Read that.
1 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 20. Of whom Hymenaeus and Alexander, whom I have delivered unto Satan, that they may learn not to blaspheme.
So wait a minute. Not only was Alexander withstanding the words that Paul was teaching, he was also blaspheming. It says that they may learn not to blaspheme. He said, I gave him over to Satan. Because what were they doing? They were blaspheming. They were blaspheming. He made so much wealth off of those shrines. He betrayed Paul. He betrayed Christ to go back and do what? To make his money. Because the apostles, they weren't making money, living lavish. So he actually left a lavish lifestyle to walk with the apostles who were living menially. They didn't have any secure place to stay because the Lord was directing them where to go each time they went out to teach. What region to go in, what city to go into, where to stay away from. It was all the Lord guiding them. But here's this man, he said, look, I left everything. Now I'm seeing all these guys, they getting on me now. You know what? Let me go back to that thing. And Paul had to make an account. And he had to make it known why he did him so much evil. He was a daggone coppersmith. He was making money. Huh. Philippians 3, verse 17. Philippians 3, verse 17. I might be on time today. This one, I might keep this one at 15 minutes, Lord willing.
Philippians chapter 3, verse 17.
Come on.
Brethren, be followers together of me, and mark them which so as ye have us for an example. For many walk, of whom I have told you often, and now tell you even weeping, that they are the enemies of the cross of Christ.
So wait a minute. There was some, I told you to mark them that walk as, Paul said, mark them that walk as he walks. Why? Because they are examples. They're followers of Christ. They don't only talk the talk, but they walk the walk. So he says, if you see anyone that's moving like how I'm moving, mark them. Because not only do you have Paul as an example, you have those other apostles as examples as well. He said, pay attention to them. Move how they move. Speak how they speak. Because the spirit of Christ is in those men. But then in the next verse, read that one more time, verse 18.
For many walk, of whom I have told you often, and now tell you even weeping, that they are the enemies of the cross of Christ.
Now we can even attribute to what we just read with Alexander. He said Alexander did him much evil. He gave Alexander over to Satan. Now he's making mentions that he says not only Alexander, it's not only Hymenaeus, but there are many who turn into enemies of the cross, enemies of the suffering Christ told us to take on as he took on. They have begun to speak blasphemies, heresies, evil speaking of the Most High God, the Messiah, and his people. This is what we have to endure. And when I said the term at the beginning, biblical betrayers, it's a term that describes those that betray the people of God, the Son of God, and God himself. Biblical betrayers. And there's so many to account as far as God goes. But sometimes we have to hone in on our foreparents that walked the earth that actually betrayed one another, so that we don't fall into that same category, that we don't have to give account on the day of the Lord on why we betrayed our nation. Listen, let me tell you something. Some brothers, some sisters is one scratch off away from betraying everybody in this truth. Let that scratch off at the gas station hit. Bro, one scratch off away. It don't have to be the full lottery, 60, 80, 100 million. It don't got to be that. Let it be a little $15,000 scratch off. Shoot. Be back in the club shaking your behind in a minute. You be putting rims on your car and trying to get some little, what's the word they call them now? Sisters. I don't know. Some women. I don't even know the slang. Hey, real quick, let's go to John 18. Oh, you didn't finish that. I'm sorry. Philippians 3. Read verse 19. They became enemies of the cross. Go ahead.
Enemies of the cross of Christ.
Verse
19. Whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly.
You see that part? That's the part I wanted. They have turned into enemies of Christ, enemies of Most High, enemies of God's people because of what they can get. Whatever's going to fill their bellies, whatever's going to tickle their fancy, scratch their itch, make them feel good, they're going to betray brothers and sisters, betray Christ for that. Go ahead.
Whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, and whose glory is in their shame, who mind earthly things.
They mind earthly things, meaning they're worldly as hell. They're worldly as hell. There's some you have a conversation with them, worldly as hell. But the hope is that they recognize their error through the immense amount of teachings that our bishops and deacons and captains do. Lord's will, they get their mind right. Lord's will, they're praying and fasting to get themselves together. But this spirit is here. It's in this truth. Brothers and sisters have that spirit to betray. I'm telling you, let one slip and fall happen. Let their child come to your house to hang out with your kids and get hurt. It don't have to take money. Emotion causes brothers and sisters to betray. I'm trying to tell you. All we can do is warn you. John 18, verse 2. All we can do is warn you. It doesn't even have to be the scratch off.
John chapter 18 and verse 2. And Judas also, which betrayed him, knew the place, for Jesus oft times resorted thither.
Hold on, you gotta read that again.
John chapter 18 and verse 2.
Come on.
And Judas also, which betrayed him, knew the place, for Jesus oft times resorted thither with his disciples.
Hold on. So the betrayer knew where he could betray him because he knew that was a place he always went. Damn. So you telling me that the betrayers pay attention to your every move? The betrayers pay attention to your every move. Listen, y'all keep playing with Sirach 6 and 7 about proving a friend. Y'all keep playing with that. Some of them is going to betray you, put all your business out there, and not give two damns about it. They're not going to care. They're just going to do it without any thought of recourse. And because they have become enemies of the cross, because they are willing to do us much evil, they don't care about the judgment of God, that they're going to have to give account for that. Trust me, they don't care. Brothers and sisters with mindsets like that do not think about being judged by God. That's too far ahead of their thought process. Go ahead.
You want me to keep reading?
Keep reading.
18 and verse
3. 3 now.
Judas then, having received a band of men and officers from the chief priests and Pharisees, cometh thither with the lanterns and torches and weapons. Jesus therefore, knowing all things that should come upon him, went forth and said unto them, Whom seek ye? They answered him, Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus saith unto him, I am he. And Judas also, which betrayed him, stood with him.
So what did they know? Judas knew where he was going to be because he always went there. And when they came to take him, who was standing right there to betray? Judas. Stood right there. Stood right there in the midst of them. Just like now. A lot of times, we saw that in 2018. Going to the enemy. That's the definition of, it's either betray or traitor, one of the two. Where it says, taking information to give to the enemy. That's the exact definition. I'm trying to tell you something. Hey, Acts 7:52. We're almost done. And I know I'm over the 15, but y'all be all right. I tried. Acts 7, verse 52.
Acts chapter 7 and verse 52. Which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted? And they have slain them which showed before of the coming of the just one.
So anyone who prophesied about the coming of Christ, the scripture says that they slayed them. Go ahead.
Of whom ye have been now the betrayers.
The what?
The betrayers and murderers.
It says you've been now. So those who were standing in front of, I think it's Stephen, right? Yes. And those who were standing in front of Stephen, he said, you too are the betrayers. The same way that they betrayed their people by killing their own is the same way you all are doing the same. The same way they murdered is the same way you all got that same spirit in you. Showing it's not just Judas. It's not just Alexander. It's not just Hymenaeus. It's in a lot of our people, that spirit to betray. And if you don't acknowledge that you have that spirit in you, you won't know what to fix. And it'll be too late when Satan seduces you. You've already fell into the trap. It's too late. Because you always thought, no, I don't got that spirit. I don't got that spirit. If you don't got it now, don't mean it can't come later on. It doesn't mean it can't come later on. So you always have to train yourself. What if this? What if this happens? What would I do? Speak it into your subconscious or into your spirit to know, ready yourself for war. When we were in sports, before the game, you talking to yourself. You getting hyped. Y'all hyping each other up to do what? To go out there and play a good game. But now in the truth, you don't hype yourself up to fight this spiritual war. You sit there and a page at a time. No, hype your damn self up for the battle. It's coming whether you like it or not. Period. 2 Timothy 3. And verse 1.
2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous.
So, the topic at hand is a lover of yourself. When you're a lover of yourself, you'll be covetous. Go ahead.
Boasters.
When you're a lover of yourself, you'll be a boaster. Go ahead.
Proud.
When you're a lover of yourself, you'll be proud. Go ahead.
Blasphemers.
When you're a lover of yourself, you will blaspheme because you think you're God. You love yourself more than you love the Lord. Go ahead.
Disobedient to parents.
Disobedient to parents when you are a lover of yourself. Go ahead.
Unthankful.
Unthankful when you love yourself. I ain't got to thank nobody. I did this all by myself. Go ahead.
Unholy.
You're an unholy wretch when you're a lover of yourself. Go ahead.
Without natural affection.
Without natural affection because you love yourself. Go ahead.
Truce breakers.
Truce breakers when you love yourself.
False accusers.
When you love yourself, you falsely accuse somebody else. I want y'all to see the topic at hand. Go ahead.
Incontinent. Fierce. Despisers of those that are good. Traitors.
What?
Traitors.
When you are a traitor, you are the epitome of one who loves themselves. That's what God says. Read the top of verse 2 again.
For men shall be lovers of their own selves.
Men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud. Every one of them link right back to loving yourself. Now go back to verse 4.
Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God.
So, when you love yourself, you can't love God. You love yourself way more than you love God. Meaning you're putting yourself before that. Let me give you a love of yourself. Celebrating your birthday. You are a lover of yourself. Because on your birthday, can't nobody tell you nothing. It's your day. You're going to do what you want to do. Don't tell me nothing. Don't do it. You are a lover of yourself. And the scripture says, read the last part of that again.
Lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God.
Go ahead.
Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof.
But denying the power of God. So we just went through a few examples of biblical betrayers. Hopefully that was edified to you brothers and to you sisters. And with that, we say shalom.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road. Purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.